I'm working on my potable water tank, so I do want to show you a before and the parts that I am going to be working with. Alright, right now this is my before setup. Let me get some lighting in here. I will be coming off of the water intake down around here and into this section here. I'll need to take out the piece that's blocking that. Now, normally you'll see in the center is the overflow. However, because I set up my intake on the inside, I know you really can't see it that well, but it's inside this bus area. It's in a previous video. My overflow is going to be a little different. It's going to come out from the top here, go out, and then go right down through. Correction. Because I don't want water coming out every time I'm on a hill or backing up, it's going to come out, it's going to go up a little bit over, and then down through the floor there. The drain will be here in the bottom as well as the water pump. Alright, not everything on the bed is going to be used for the water intake. I mean, this will be, hooking up my sink. However, this will be part of my overflow. This is what I talked about coming up and over and the piping to go through. This will be part of my drain system. I will be using this to hook up for the town water intake, and then this here is going to be part of the water fill, and I have to do things a little differently. I'm going to have to take a piece of PVC, cut it to fit these two pieces together, because this tubing that is part of the fill fits super snug in here, and I won't even have to glue it because there's no pressure. Alright, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to cut everything that I need to the right lengths, get it all hooked up. Alright, I want to show you something right here before I hook all this up. You can see at the farther end there, that's going to be my water intake to fill the tank. It's going to come down, and then it's going to come into this part here. Now, what I want to do is to angle this one so that overall the path of the water is always going to flow down into here and never sit along the tube here. So I just need to make sure I don't want this exactly even this way, because it always sit. So I'm going to have it just a little bit turned up, but less than and lower than that section down there. Alright, I put that in just a little bit of an angle. I don't want too much, but I do want it angled enough to force that to be higher than this, and then water on level ground will always drip down into the tank. This piece here, which is part of my fill tube for my potable water tank, the little bit of a problem I have is that it's curved because this is how it's stored in the big roll at the store. Now, I need it to be as straight as possible. So a couple options I have. I'm going to try maybe hair dryer first to see if I can warm this up, and if it'll hold its shape afterward, that would be great. If I have a heat gun that's just warmer. Now, if it doesn't hold its shape, if I have any issues, I will have to consider doing some kind of splint along the length of this wood to keep it straight, because otherwise it's going to put too much pressure on the elbow joints and then therefore on the inlet valve for the fill. So the first thing I'm going to try is just to heat it up. I'll have some weight like this, and you can see it's already kind of pushing up on that. As heavy as this is an old jigsaw, but it's still pretty heavy, so I'm going to get a hairdryer out and we'll see if that will help out a little bit. Maybe if I lift it up deliberately, and let's see, and we'll see if it drops down on its own. Alright, if I go along the tube here, you can see the left side, which I have not done, is definitely still curved. This is flatter on this side. The issue will be, once this cools, will it keep its present shape? It's still warm, so I gotta wait for that to cool off. Then I'm going to lift this up to see how this side compares to this side here. Alright, I was thinking I had another idea in that once I get this warmed up, I bent it in the reverse direction, heat it up again. I will let this cool maybe overnight and come in the morning and check it to see how it is. So I will do the same thing on this side. I'll warm this up so it's a little more flexible, and then I'll put something underneath on this side to lift this up, and I'm hoping that bending it a little bit in the reverse direction will help keep this new shape and keep it, you know, straight for the purposes of hooking it up. What this piece is for right here, and I just two reasons for that. Doesn't have to be anything special. Without this, there is a little bit of tension being put on that connection there. Now it feels pretty secure. However, I didn't want all this weight to be pulling on that and also pulling on this, which is inserted pretty snug in there. And I wanted to kind of create a nice water flow all going down in this direction. So I have this piece right here, and all I'm going to do is just put a couple screws into these L brackets and hold that into place. Alright, just to let you know, before I drilled my first hole for the vent, the second one will be for the drain, I did drill a pilot hole down through here, went underneath the bus to make sure I was not, you know, going through frame or I was going to hit any key component. I've gotten through the wood, I've gotten through the insulation, and the last part is just to get through the thin piece of metal at the bottom. Alright, and there we go. There's number one. And then I'll figure out where I'm going to put the drain for the other one. Alright, so I'm going to go over my cold water city hookup. Now this is not complete, and I'll explain why along the way, but right now I have, let me turn this at least off for the moment. I'll be checking for leaks. Now this is the initial hookup of the PEX piping that this particular one connects to the city water connection down there. Now at some point right here, I'll show you, the pump is going to go here, and the pump will tee into this spot. The city water has a check valve, the pump has a check valve, so neither will interfere with each other, and the pump would be off anyway. And then at some point I will also be creating a tee off of this that will eventually go to my hot water heater and then back to this hot connection here. Alright, this is my city connection right here, so I'm going to hook up a hose to this and we'll turn it on low to start with. Alright, this is connected up. There are no leaks here. I'm going to go inside. I have no leaks at this connection. I have no leaks here, and there's no leaks up at this connection for the compression fitting. The only leak I do have is right here when I turn the water on, so I will have to find new washers for this cold setting right here. But if I do turn it on, I get plenty of water here, but you can see it is leaking right there, so that will need new washers. Alright, now and at this point I will be making a short connection hose that will go from here and down out through the bottom and just stay there permanently, because well, let me back up a little bit. Each time I disconnect here, there's still enough pressure in the or water in the hose that would leak down, and it did make this wet. Fortunately, I haven't stained it yet. This will dry, it'll be fine. So I will have a hose that will go from here. I will have some type of exit point in the cab where that hose can stay sticking out. Then once that pressure is off, then after that, if I want to, I can take it off of here and store it when I'm not using it. And that'll take care of that issue of this water coming out here every time.